Success doesn't start with money. It starts with belief. Every skyscraper you see today once existed as a thought in someone's mind. Every millionaire once started as a dreamer with nothing but determination. And this is the story of one such dreamer, a poor American boy named Ethan Miles, who proved that when you think big, even empty pockets can build an empire. Ethan grew up in a small town in Ohio. His father fixed cars in a dusty garage, and his mother worked long hours at a diner. They barely managed to pay rent, and there were nights when dinner was just bread and water. But what they lacked in wealth, they made up for in love and hope. Ethan wasn't a genius. In school, he sat in the back row wearing the same worn-out sneakers every day. His classmates mocked him for his faded clothes, but he never fought back. He just smiled, because in his heart he believed something they didn't. He believed he was destined for something bigger. One day, his teacher, Mrs. Carter, asked the class to write an essay titled, "My Future." While others wrote about becoming doctors, engineers, and soldiers, Ethan wrote just 5 words: "I'll change the world someday." The class laughed. Even the teacher smiled kindly and said, "That's a big dream, Ethan. Maybe start smaller." But Ethan didn't. He couldn't, because he had read somewhere that if your dreams don't scare you, they're not big enough. After high school, Ethan couldn't afford college. While his friends left town for universities, he worked at a gas station, washing cars and pumping fuel. He earned barely enough to survive, but his mind was always running miles ahead. Every night, he'd read motivational books he borrowed from the local library. Think and Grow Rich, The Power of Positive Thinking, The Magic of Thinking Big. He didn't just read them, he absorbed them. He wrote their lessons on sticky notes and placed them above his bed. One night after a long shift, he looked at his reflection in the gas station window and whispered, "I don't have money, but I have a mind, and that's enough." That sentence became his turning point. He started thinking differently. When others saw problems, he saw opportunities. When others complained about customers, he saw potential connections. One morning, a man drove in with a luxury car and said his business was struggling to attract young customers. Ethan, instead of just cleaning the windshield, shared a few creative marketing ideas he'd read about. The man was impressed and offered him a small job at his office to help with social media. That's how Ethan got his first break. He learned everything he could: marketing, design, communication. He worked late nights, asked questions, watched tutorials. Slowly, he became more valuable than anyone expected. Within a year, he was promoted. Within 3 years, he started his own small marketing agency from his parents' garage. At first, it was just him and his laptop. Clients were few, money was tight, but he kept going. He never stopped thinking big. He visualized his future every morning before work. He saw himself running a big company, helping others, changing lives. And every day he worked like that vision was already real. People laughed again, just like in school. "You're dreaming too big, Ethan," they said. He smiled and replied, "That's what they always say before it happens." Years passed. His small agency grew. He hired people who once doubted him. He opened offices across states. By the time he turned 35, Ethan Miles was featured in a business magazine under the headline, "From Gas Station to Millionaire, the Boy Who Thought Big." But when reporters asked about his success, he didn't talk about money. He said, "My real wealth was in my thoughts. I trained my mind to believe before I saw. That's the power that changes everything." He then funded scholarships for kids who couldn't afford college, the way he couldn't. He told them the same thing he once told himself: "Don't let your pocket decide how big you can dream. Let your mind do that." Ethan's story spread far and wide because it spoke to everyone who ever felt small, broke, or forgotten. He proved that you don't need a rich background to build a rich future. You need a big mindset. So if you're listening to this and you feel stuck, remember Ethan. Your situation doesn't define you. Your thinking does. Stop saying, "I can't." Start asking, "How can I?" Because one powerful thought can change everything. Every great success starts as a thought, and your thoughts are the blueprints of your destiny. So think big, believe bigger. And never, ever forget. Even with empty pockets, you can still hold $1 million dream.